So without champagne or
I'm not on stage. Sorry, my friends. I'm totally distracted. If you don't know why, Spurs have won. I tell you. I might show the goal just to excite myself a bit more. So I'm so glad to be here. You're here as well. Please do the usual. Leave us a comment so I know you're here. Otherwise, I don't know you're here. Michael, I see you. Let me get my phone. Let me get on YouTube. How are you, Mr. Michael? How's it going?
Not bad.
It's a
Nice to
good
you
day.
too. How's it
It's a
going with
good day. It's a great day. The best day for years. Yeah,
you? Good for you.
it is.
It
It
must be
really is.
sunny.
Yeah, I was nervous during the game all the way through, but at least we won. Now, Champions League we're coming to next season, even though we've got a rubbish team, but we don't care. We'll take it.
Well, I
Are
wouldn't
you a
say
football
that.
fan?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that to your mates. I'm pretty
What
sure
do
they
you
would not
mean?
like that.
We're rubbish. We know we're rubbish. We know we're rubbish. Which is it's how football is. Hey, Jackie, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm totally distracted, Jackie. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm just having fun, right? I'm so glad you're here, though. Thank you for joining us. Of course, everyone should go to Jack's, an amazing travel show. What is it a travel show? Yeah, it's a travel show of sorts, right? Because you have guests to interview. So welcome, Jackie. I'm so glad you're here. LinkedIn user, please put your name in the comments. I know it's you. Always good. Always a good day when you listen to me. Oh, how am I going to do today's show? I don't know. In case you don't know, because you're US people. My football team just won the European trophy. Last time I won a European trophy was God knows what, literally 1984. LinkedIn user, which backstage are you? I think you're on the wrong backstage. I can't see you, so you're not here. Please, come out of this StreamYard link you're on and find today's link. Let me work out who's who, right? But I'm so excited. Okay, someone's just joined me. I'm so excited. Oh, man. It is an amazing thing. It means nothing to anyone apart from me, right? But I'll take it. I think we won once in my lifetime. So to win again, man, that's so exciting. Sean says I'll be there. Excellent. Michelle, no, not Michelle. Dr. Yvonne's in the waiting room. Dr. Yvonne, let me try and give you the right link. Now, today's going to be an interesting conversation. Welcome to, I'll do some more welcomes in a second. Let me send Dr. Yvonne the link to join us in the right room. Right. This in the waiting. You're not in the waiting room. This is the right link. I think you've joined the wrong link. I truly believe that. That's anything I can think of. If not, click on this one. Right. Oh man, I don't take sporting events very well, especially if I have to care. And most of the time, I just tell myself I don't care and let it be. But today I cared because it means so much to us to win something. And before you're wondering why I'm such a fan, I used to have a seat at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I used to be a season ticket holder. I spent all my Saturdays there. And I used to watch all the matches at home. And we didn't get anywhere near winning then, but this we have now. Dr. Yvonne, I have sent you the link. Hopefully you will be able to join us. Look, whoever's here, please drop us a hello. That way I can welcome you properly. Right. Today's going to be an interesting one. I don't know. Oh, man. Am I nervous? No, I'm not nervous really. I know it's going to be interesting because the conversation is going to be a bit different to what we normally have. So Margaret Superwoman, I see you. Welcome. How are you doing? Dr. Marcia, I see you too. So glad you're here. Distraction can lead to fun times. It might do. But I guess I need some friends in the studio. Now, let me take my chance before my friends join us in the studio, right? Let me talk about what I want to talk about. Let's see what you think, my friends. Okay. So our topic is What's love got to do with growing your revenues and your business? Welcome, Philip. So glad you're here, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Right, so I've been reading a book called A Return to Love by Marion Williams. Okay, that's where my topic comes from today. Right? See, I don't know why. It's not. I don't know why. I take books I read very seriously. When I read a book, it does make me question myself. And this book did exactly that. Let's my color out, so you can't sort of fix it, right? So this book is all about a return to love. And I think it's based on her, I guess, her journey through depression, and then working out that life is all about love. The solution to everything is all about. So I'll give you some of the text from the book. But as I was reading, I'm thinking, right, is this true? See, I do this with every book I read, my friends. Unless I know what's in it already, I will question myself. I said another book that made me question myself recently was Coach David's book, Prophetic Ecosystem and Dynamics. And his argument is that it's all about God. It's all about God. And it's all about God. Everything good that happens is about is divine inspiration. Everything bad that happens is human choice. And I was tortured for a long time thinking, really? Well, I had a conversation with him, but I said that's another book. Now this one pretty much says love conquers all. Love is everything. And let me get to the text. Lisa, welcome. So glad you're here. The amazing Lisa. Thank you for joining us, my menopause dietitian specialist. Call her Dr. Lisa, but she'll kill me if I do. So let me leave that for a second, right? I haven't really restarted my computer. So here's the introduction that I want to give you. So Marion Williamson says our self-perception determines our behavior. True. If we think we're small, limited, inadequate creatures, then we tend to behave that way. And the energy we radiate reflects those thoughts no matter what we do. Whereas if we think we're magnificent creatures with an infinite abundance of love and power to give, then we tend to behave that way. Once again, the energy around us reflects our state of awareness. She goes on to say, any thinking person knows that the world is moving in a downward spiral. Is it? I'm not sure. But apparently, we're on the way down, right? And an object continues to move in whatever direction is currently headed. So we're doomed, right? So only the application of a stronger counterforce can change that direction. I guess she's saying that our lack of belief in faith, our lack of love, our loveless world is the way she puts it. It's what's dragging us down. Whereas we need miracles that are counterforce. When love reaches a critical mass, when enough people become miracle minded, in other words, showing love and feeling love all the time, the world will experience a radical shift. That's the basis from which I'm coming from today. Now, do I believe in the power of love, especially in business? I do. Love in life, love in business, I think, is what we need to do. We need to be those people who live in love, right? I guess I agree with Marion Williamson a lot of the time. Dr. Yvonne, I do see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Always amazing to have you in my rooms. And look, so I think that I do believe that there's much for us to gain by living in love and approaching the world in love. I'm sure many of you heard me say that when I meet people, I love them because I just do, right? no, I tend to start with, you're brilliant, I love you, I adore you, and then give you a chance to show me otherwise. So whereas some people have the other way, they're totally the other way. They come with, I don't know you, I'm not sure, and almost in nine out of 10 times, you can't convince them to live a life of love. See, right. Jeremy, I see you. Welcome, Liana. Welcome as well. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. Hopefully, you'll be engaged in our conversation. I'd love to know your thoughts. There's a link in the comments to join the stage. So that's the StreamYard link. Do join us. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Anyways, going back to Marion Williamson's point, I guess, she says when people don't lead with love, essentially we are leading with fear. I don't like fear. I don't like to live with fear. And I like to live a life of peace. So maybe we start there. Let's start there, right? Well, I can ask the question: what is love to you? Dr. Yvonne, talk to us. Dr. Yvonne's a bit engaged. How are you doing? Talk to us. Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Just trying to be quiet and listen.
It's all right. If you're noisy, I tend to mute you. I can mute you from here, right? But I don't have to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So you've heard my preamble, right? You heard my waffle
About loving
Yes.
other people. So
Loving everything. Loving, how to put it? I know what I think love is a state of being, Dr. Eva.
it is.
Right. I think we need to live in that state where we're loving beings. Let's put it that way, right? I think that's where we'll find peace.
I think that emotionally, most people or most beings want to be loving because of the empathy and, they have a heart. Um, but some of us are like natural nurturers, right? And so for us mentally, we believe that that is love, the nurturing of other people. And while that might be love, and they also say that love is the highest frequency, which it's not, okay? Authenticity is the highest frequency, and love is next. But I don't really think you can truly love anyone the way they need to be loved unless you first realize how much love you have for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that says they love people don't, have issues with self and self talk and, that private conversation that we have in the back of our heads or what we think love should look like. But I think that the benefit of like true love is that first you really have to understand how you love yourself. And that for me was a complete journey because what I was told, what I've seen, or what I had believed was actual love, the actions might have looked like love, the words might have looked like love, but when I look at the person who was supposedly distributing or giving that love, their self talk and the way they treated themselves was not love. And I mean, I don't know, does that make sense? So
It makes perfect sense.
I
Perfect.
think I think true love is something that you have to really work on, but you have to pour into yourself as
Mm.
well.
I agree 100%. I think we have to love us. And again, this is where I guess our downfall starts because I think we don't love ourselves because we're too self-critical. And we don't live in the present. We tend to live in the past, where we tend to dwell on the things we've got wrong before and use that to beat ourselves up, right? And I think when we live in the past, we feel guilt. And with our self-talk, like you say, it goes wonky. It goes off kilter, right? Off center. And we need to learn to love ourselves first. But I think when you mention authenticity, I think without self-love, we can't love anyone else. But then so when we love ourselves, we have a whole different mentality, a whole different vision of ourselves, right? Because I think it's a weird thing, if you're not living in love, then you're living in fear. When you live in fear, your ego is what's driving you, really. It's all of that. That's just what this book tells me. I'm like, okay. It's a big book. It's a huge book.
That's true. That's true, though. That's very, very true. That's, that's true. That's not like some kind of premise or hypothesis or nothing like that. But, the thing is, women, even women that think they're living a soft life or that they're living in their divine feminine energy, even those women are, doers. They want to give to everyone. They're a mother, they're a sister, they're a wife, they're all these things. So guess what? This cup is this big and it's pouring out everywhere to everyone because that is the key role of a woman. All right. And I know maybe some people will disagree with that, but I enjoy being female. I enjoy living in the feminine energy. And I think that there's no more a special place than that of being in your female womanhood. And part of that is, and a lot of that is nurturing, although you have black, you have white, you have good, you have evil, you have up, you have down. So we should be able to balance.
Yeah.
But you find when you sit down by yourself after giving 20 years to a marriage, after raising your children, after being the caretaker for your parents, some of us have to work, and that's part of the masculine energy, have to work versus choosing to work, two different things. But after you sit down and everybody is, gone about their way and you're sitting there with you, or you're sitting across from a husband that you guys have forgotten each other along the way, and you sit there and you say, I'm empty. So were you really ever truly loving anyone, or were you just making sure that everybody said, I'm good, and you just said yes, and then you just went through your life and you put nothing into yourself? Because why? Society tells us as women that if we put into ourselves, we're selfish. So we don't want to be that. But in the process, we never understand or accumulate true love because we've never given ourselves that opportunity.
See, so
It's a journey,
yeah, so I say it's gonna be deep, this conversation, because look, at the heart of Marianne Williamson's book is faith. Believe in God and believe in, so I tend to believe in the universe, the power of the universe. So I'm just being resistant to saying I believe in God. There's something there. I don't know what it is, right? That's what I'm saying. But I don't want to do religion. I believe there's a greater power. Otherwise, the world wouldn't work. Miracles won't happen.
The universe.
Right. I'll tell you. So that's that. But she bangs on about God for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Love is God. God is love. I'm like, you're overstating the point. But look, I'll come with that.
Well,
I think that
Annie, we know what God is now.
Mm.
And we know what universal truths are now. And you cannot unsee something you've seen. So truly, God, that word, is not who he is. So we can refer to him in the I am spirit, meaning we are a reflection of our maker. He has so many names, but his true name is, whatever you are. because you're created in his image. So you are
Yeah.
I am that I am, Yahweh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so it's hard to unlearn it's hard to unlearn colonization.
Mm,
And what that means is organized religion. It's hard to unlearn that, but when you touch into the fact that, yes, I believe in prayer. Yes, I believe in a higher power. Yes, I know I have a creator. Yes, I know I have a mission. Yes, I know that I have to love and enjoy myself and my life. And yes, I know that I was given dominion at birth.
yeah.
Yes, I know these things. So there is a greater creator. What his name is a question. Does
Indeed.
that make
Yeah.
sense?
Perfect sense. That my understanding completely. I think
To me,
So now our friends in the comments are saying the same thing. So Dr. Leslie says, you can call him God, universe, Jesus, Krishna, Allah, all the same things. The labels are good for our universal energy. I agree with you. So Michael says, call it Yahweh and be done. I think what we say, but there is that greater power, right? But I think, the one thing I'll say is that we're heading to a world where divinity coaches are coming. That's what I can see coming. I mean, we've done mindset coaches, right? We know what they do now. I'm saying, but the next trend will be coaches that talk from a religious standpoint. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying they're coming. So that at least I'm trying to. This is why I'm talking about this topic today. I want to try and examine where we stand. What do we believe, right? Dr. Yvonne said quite a lot there. There's many things that are linked to this love conversation. Let me go back to you again, Sean. Sean says love is misunderstood because it's mocked much as a feeling. I agree. Now, see, love is not a feeling. Real love is a decision. Sean, I couldn't agree more. We choose whether to be of love or whether to live in fear. That's our choice. And more often, it's a way of seeing. It's a way of being, Sean. I agree. I agree completely. See, that's at the heart of my conversation today, Sean. I think when we learn to see from the point of love, everything potentially gets better. Everything gets better, right? And so that's the point of the book. This is why I'm so. What's what I'm looking for? I'm consumed by the teachings, and so that's what I want to explore today, my friends. Dr. Leslie says, "Who decides what love is for us? We do, but then again, we do in the context of being on the mission, being gifted, being blessed, being what's what I'm looking for? Being looked after. If I believe in the power of love, right? I believe that the world will work in my favor because I live in love, right? I'm sure you can see it now, the pitfall. Miss Margaret, I'm going to come to you next. The pitfall is, oh, well, other people are mean. I can't just be nice to everyone. No, you can. And I don't believe in religion. I just went there, didn't I? I'm saying all these things come up, right? So we have to have almost like a backstop, a higher power that we surrender to, is what Miss Marion Williamson says. It's surrendered to emotionally and in reality, because that's how. Now, God is love, right? And if you don't believe God is love, then we're not going to surrender ourselves to the higher power. And I suppose look at it now. Look like a child. That's why I can think about it. I think we have to think and feel like children, babies, when they're born, where they approach the world with total love, right? Total love, and they trust that the parents and the carers will do the right thing, and they trust that the world will do the right thing for them. They don't even ask a question. Should I be scared? They never are, right? When you meet a baby, A baby looks at you and hugs you as excitedly as they're ever going to hug anyone, right? They don't choose whether they like you or not. They don't think whether you're going to harm them or not. They just pour out love, and we have to be the same as adults to really build our business. Yeah, I just said all those words. I know what I mean, right? And the reason I'm laughing at myself is because I feel the love. I live in love until you're my employee, and then I'm strict. If you're my employee, I have my love for my customers supersedes my love for my employees. So when the employees don't love the customers as much, I turn. Am I an evil person? I don't know. I don't know. Miss Margaret, what do you think?
Wow, well, there's been so many great things that have been said. Dr. Yvonne, it's kind of hard to follow up on that. That was really great, actually. I love the way she said that God has no name, but I am, because I was just thinking about that the other day, too. Um, last week, and thank you so much, Jenny, for asking me to speak today. I appreciate you always.
Thank you for being here. I mean that sincerely. Thank you. It's a
I
joy
know
to have
you do. I know you do. I appreciate you. And hello, everyone. Um, you know, I was talking in Christine's live last week on Thursday, and I think you were there. And I was talking about the agape love, which is the highest form of love, that characterizes selflessness and sacrifice and the desire for good of others, regardless of their worthiness or response, is how it's defined. And when you look up the definition of love, it says it's an intense feeling of deep affection, and it can be for someone, right? And it says it's either something you have an interest in that you like or you enjoy very much. There's so many definitions of love. And I even like the Buddha teachings of how they talk about compassion and the equanimity and as core aspects of love, rather than a romantic attachment also. So you have sympathy, and true love is not about attachment. A lot of people think that it's about an attachment, which it isn't. And the thing is that everyone has a different definition of love, because we're all different inside and out, mind and spirit, right? So there's no true definition of love, and I feel the highest frequency that vibrates in us is the ones that characterize us. The what we are, what we feel, what we do, what the reflection is of us. And true love to me is a reflection of what you see in others. That's how you feel that, or dislike, or whatever the case may be, right? And also, I just feel that people, love because they want to have a sense of belonging. They want to feel like they're connected with someone, and that meaning, and they have to have purpose, right, in life, and or a reflection of a divinity, a higher meaning, sometimes in spiritual, or Christian, aspect, when they talk about a universal force, love. And to me, love is a motivation force. It just breaks all barriers and makes things possible. So when you ask the question of what love means to me, it is something that is unbreakable, that doesn't break your spirit, doesn't break, regardless of what people do or say to you. Like it doesn't, you're unbreakable. There's no way somebody can do that when you have that love, when you have that true love within you, regardless of what they do or say. So what it looks like is if somebody can say something ugly to you, and it doesn't even penetrate you. It just bounces right off, like, okay, because you respect that person's opinion, right? And it's like you said, I don't believe in God, on this, I don't that, and this is what it means to you. So in respect for you, and how you view of what life means, to you, and what love means to you, and what your spirituality means to you or doesn't mean to you, is is fine, because it shouldn't, nobody should ever have an opinion on that, but you should this and you should that and you should, you know what I mean? They should just be like, hey, I respect that's you, because everyone is its own universe in its own mind and spirit. So we're all going to interpret and translate and engulf ourselves with whatever we are. It's like Dr. Ron had said, God means to us what we are. And to me, that is what it is. And even love means to us what we are. If we're compassionate, then that's, there's a lot of tests too that you can take. Like I took a character test, and the character test is, it's like it shows what your character is. Mine was gratitude. It was like deep in gratitude. And there's so many other things, that tests that you can take, that make you who you are. Part of that is love, and but without attachment. And that's the hardest part when you're talking about love, is knowing that you're not attached to anything or anyone, but you still have that love, and it drives you and it stays without it being untouchable. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you. So, I love your perspective, and again, I think I can say I can relax now, knowing that you, my friends, you get it, right? And you get what I'm talking about. I thought I was going crazy slightly, but you get it, and I think it's a way of being, right? So love is that thing that holds it all together. I think someone said in the comments. Michael, yes, we love to be heard, seen, and valued. Of course, we do. And so attachment says, I need you to be okay, so I feel okay. Whereas love says, I want the best for you, even if it's not me. Agree. That's what Margaret's just saying, right? It is, it's a state of being. And, I think when we love, we don't pass judgment. We don't judge other people because it's not our place to judge, right? And it comes back to your faith thing as well, and all of that, right? We accept that things are because the higher powers, the greater power, whatever yours is, decree that that's how things are, and that's what is today, right? And I guess we then go towards praying. It's not praying for miracles. No, it is praying for miracles. Basically, we'll go towards wanting miracles. Miracles being, in Marion Williamson's world, the results of love that we give. As Sean says, real love gives not to get but to grow. Exactly, Sean. Exactly that. I'm sure you've read the book, Sean. If you haven't known, join us on stage, Sean. He says there's a willingness to invest in something greater than your own comfort. It really is, right? It is that way of being. I guess I want to talk about, can we apply love to our business? Can we, or how can we, is more the question, right? So I believe we can. Don't know whether, if you do, I wonder what your thoughts are, Dr. Yvonne, Cyrus. I say, thanks for joining us. Oh, my screen is frozen. Damn. Someone say something, because I have to restart my computer, right? If I lose my comments, I do apologize. And if someone wants to speak, feel free. Cyrus, feel free to introduce yourself. I'll be back in a minute.
I hate it, but I'm going to talk since no one else is talking. What was I believe the question was, can you have love in your business? Is that correct? Can someone just verify that for me?
How do you apply it to your business? Correct.
How do you put, well, I mean, don't you think that if there's something that you really enjoy doing, that just comes kind of automatically? Like I don't know that if I'm going to open a business and I'm going to work harder at my own business than I would if I were just punching a clock for another company. that I would want to spend, 72 hours a day um, doing something I didn't love. So for me, I would say yes. What do you guys think?
I agree with you on that, but I also think that we can apply it like to our team or our clients or whoever, right? Show, but 100%, I think you're right, Dr. Yvonne. I agree with that. That if you're doing what you love, then it's gonna just reflect.
Yeah, because it's, for me, it's like, so I have, I kind of have a legal background, and that was what I always wanted to do. That was my dream, no children, no husband, none of that, just high powered and just doing all these things. And, I had a stronghold in giving back to domestic violence, started that my second semester undergraduate year. And, I just really saw myself like that, and you have to imagine, you have to visualize how you see your life. But I'll tell you, once I gave birth to my daughter, um, everything switched. I still want to do the things I do high powered, but it's like my love of all of that, I mean, it was still there, because it fed me. And now I have, a child or a family, but the love switched. So even though I really wanted to do what I was doing, everything just poured into my child and building that bond in the family while producing the things I needed to produce. Now that business became a vehicle of transference for the love that I was really pouring into, and that is the building of the foundation of a family. So I think that the love can switch from, that business aspect when you have that tunnel vision and you're building something that, a lot of people go into business and they're like, oh, if I could just buy this car or that car or do this or do that or live this lifestyle. They're not thinking, I am building an empire. I am building a legacy. And the reason I have to build this, whatever their why is, the foundation, I believe, has to come from a space of love. But it can be transferred. But you can still enjoy what you're doing.
Right. I agree 100%. I agree. I think we have to work from a place of love in what we do, right? We have to. I think we have to have that love for but then I have to put it. My confusion with my author friend, my Marion Williamson, is that she's saying it's not our choice; it's the choice of the divine. What we do that will give us joy, that will give us true fulfillment. I wonder if you agree with that. I wonder. Cyrus, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hi everyone. Yes, I am. I am there.
Yeah.
Share with us, my friend. Can you build your business based on love alone? I'm not saying you don't. Of course, you need technical skills, but love it has to be a primary driver for everything you do and who you are, how you face the world.
Do you want me to answer?
Let's hear from Cyrus, and then I'll come to you.
No. I'm gonna give my turn to the gents, and I will say it afterwards. That's fine. I can wait.
Okay. So, Michael, you go for it. I think Sean is.
Oh my God! It took me 44 minutes to get on stream here. I mean,
well, now you know how. Next time, you know.
There was a lot. There was not a lot of not love, but
no, there was love. There was.
So
it's what it's meant to be, my friend. I haven't seen you for a while. How are you?
Yeah, this is my point. This is my talk. I have been good. I come back to our thing that we are 101, 8 billion 101 human beings. Just look at your family. I think love is where we interconnected, is the vibration where the 8 billion are interconnected. So when you meet, when you and I met, we resonated with each other, and that was love, based on love. We didn't interpret it as love, but it was based on love. And when you resonate or you find a person that is actually resonating with you, it aligns you to your balance, that you're balanced within nature, not God. I think through nature you get to God, and then through nature you get to universe, and then you get to God, because God is not comprehensible. Otherwise, we wouldn't be 8 billion 101s. And you find, I find that love is a feeling where you feel the resonance, but which is, and when you can interpret it as saying, oh, it's not the person, it's just he clarifies my balance, he brings me into balance, and that's why I feel so good and in love and so happy, and there's no, and when people are in love, they're just, there's no problem. The day before they're in love, the whole life is a problem. The next day they are falling in love, there is no problem. Oh, you have no money? No problem. You have no car? No problem. And it's the vibration that brings you into balance. And I think absolutely can you do a business on love if you're aware. It's the knowledge is outdated. It has a very shorter and shorter half-life because technology is so fast. But when you have awareness, which is the highest form of that we can experience in humanity, in intelligence, then when you do a business, you will be aware that you make a business is your contribution to humanity, not to the market, not to the stock market. It is that those are symptoms. Money and stock market and all are symptoms. When you know, oh, I'm in balance, and I feel the balance of other people, and I attract more people with balance, and then you do a business, you're unbeatable. There's unbeatable. But if it's not your passion, your cake business or your muffin business, if that's not your passion, you're already, denying the balance. You're already thinking. But if cooking is your passion, you're on the right track. And you get feedback in addition from other people that they love your bakery stuff. Oh my God, there's no holding back. It's just it's exponentially. That's what I think. About.
I think that's what this book is saying. I think this book is on track. So I guess the thing I think the thing I would hold on to in terms of move the conversation forward is I don't think love is a feeling. I think love is a way of being. Really, I think you, Michael, for example, you are a loving person. Like, say you are that. You don't approach anyone with aggression or with any. You are a giving person. I say that's why almost everyone here. I can say that's why we're here. That's why we're friends, right? Because we are birds of a feather, flocking together. Call it what you like, right? So we are those people, right? The people who are not like us don't tend to hang around us. So I think I do think it's a way of being, but that's just my personal perspective. Yeah. Thank you so much, my friend. And I'll come back to you. There's a lot more discussion we need to have, right? I'll definitely come back to you. I say, who am I going? Cyrus, are you ready, or should I go to Sean?
I was born ready, mate.
Go for it. No.
How's it going, Lenny? It's lovely to be
We
here.
won, Cyrus. We won! Yay! That cheers me up so much. I tell you.
Did you?
We won. Honestly, it was a rubbish match, by the way. It was terrible.
Well, I can't say enough. I'm a United fan, so.
Oh no, I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not really.
Thanks for the sympathy. I just wanted to first.
Love's gone out the window, Cyrus. Love's gone out the window.
I just wanted to thank the amazing ladies and gents who shared their experiences and their take on the subject. Thank you for educating me and educating us. So I was going to say, I've been listening to the conversation from the very beginning since Dr. Yvonne shared her views, and for some reason I find her views very, very close to mine. The journey she's had from one end of the spectrum to the middle of it to the end of it, the spectrum we call God. Then everyone talks about God, and everyone's got a version of it. Some people believe in him, some people believe in her, some people don't. But regardless of that, some people call God, like, I don't know, forces of nature, the higher being, etc., etc. We all refer to him or her in different ways, but we all refer to him or her nonetheless. So I'm personally, I'm agnostic, and well, then again, my opinion about God doesn't really matter. What I do with it does. So we talked about love, and some people called it a choice, some people called it a decision. And I'm going to take it further and call it turning up consistently. So if you love, so think about your partner, your husband, your wife. When was it? This is a very difficult question, by the way. When was it that you found out you're in love with that person? You perhaps started the relationship and you fell deeper and deeper in love with that person. Why? Because every time you open your eyes in the morning, you woke up and that person was there. They didn't leave your side for years and years and years. We all know people who've been next to each other. They've been walking shoulder to shoulder, neck to neck for decades. That is true love, because they turn up for each other consistently, day in, day out. They never leave each other's side. In sickness and death, right? So, sorry, in sickness and health, and sometimes in death. I saw a couple on ITV News the other day, and they were talking about that death by choice that England has sent to the Parliament these days, and it's they are debating it at the moment. So anyway, so even this couple were expressing their love in a different way. They said, if we want to die, we want to die together, right? So they want to live together, they want to die together. So they turn up for each other consistently, and for me, it's not a matter of should I apply love to my business? No, I don't think it's a matter of should. It's a matter of, why is it you're not doing it? Why is it you're asking that question? If you're a business person and your question is, should I apply love to my business? Your business is in trouble already, my friend, or you are in the wrong business, right? You need to change that, because that should come from within you. Okay, it's not something you have to insert or apply. It's just something that should push you out of bed in the morning. You don't even know why it's pushing you out of bed, but you know you're on your way to do something and get something done. That is love. You turn up every day. It's like an invisible force. If you can define it, you're not experiencing it yet, right? So, I mean, then again, I'm only human. I could be right, could be wrong. Please go ahead and do your own search, do your own research. And so, so please remember, if you're asking that question, if you should apply love to your business, you need to change your business goals. You need to ask yourself, why is it that I already haven't? Maybe that is not the business that you should be in. Maybe that is not the goal that you should have. Maybe you've been pursuing a goal for years and years and years, just because somebody else pushed that love into your heart and told you something that is not you, told you to pursue something that is not you, right? Perhaps that's the case. Perhaps it's not. I don't know. You know better. So then again, if you're not applying it already, you're not doing it right. Okay, so and I'm going to finish on this. The best way to find out if you should apply it or not is, you need to ask yourself, why is it you're doing that business? Because nobody does business for the sake of business, because that's very idiotic in my view. You shouldn't be doing business for the sake of business. you should do a hobby for the sake of a hobby, but not business for the sake of business. You're doing a business to it's very transactional. Okay, you're doing a business to make some sort of change. It could be change the earth, it could be change people's life, it could be change your financial state, but it's a transactional thing. You do the business to make some positive change in some aspect of your life or somebody else's, right? So you need to tweak. So that's one of them things. You can what I'm saying. Just listen to it, then take it or tweak it, right? So what I'm saying is, ask yourself, why am I doing this, right? Once you find out why you're doing what you're doing or whom you're doing it for, you definitely get the answer there and then, I promise you, right? If you're doing it, as an example, I'm doing this for my daughter, right? So I'm trying to change the world for better for the sake of my daughter. I'm doing my business so I can leave it in the hands of my daughter. So everyone has a why, okay? A massive why. Even people who say they don't have a why, they have one. Maybe they haven't found it yet, okay? So your purpose is your why. If you found it, I'm happy for you. If you haven't found it, I'm encouraging you to find it because you deserve it. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Cyrus. You know, I agree with you again, and I think that you get where we're coming from today. Jeremy does say, "I love the mic in the wine glass, Cyrus, and love equals consistency." We hear you. We hear you. There's something there, right? So Stanley, welcome to Stanley. I saw you, Sir Stanley Green, and I suddenly thought, you know what? I get it. I meant to download the app and look on the app what I used to get to my DMs, right? So Stanley, I think so. Right? If you haven't been to Stanley Green's Power Thinking Club, then you will know what I'm talking about. But connect with him and find out about his bite-sized mindset, teaching principles. You know, let's say, I used to get DMs every day. But now, I guess there's a mobile Power Thinking app now, right? So I have to go and download it to get to what I used to get. Sean, you're here in the studio. Love is key in business. I agree with you. I think Cyrus is saying the same thing, right? You know, but there are many people who haven't found a true calling, Cyrus. They haven't found themselves. They're in business for different reasons. This is why I'm having a conversation, right? They are trying to make money, for example, which is not a bad thing, but if that's what drives them only, they're doomed, right? We know that. I'm saying this. Now, but there's always a bigger question. Do we do what we love, or do we just love, and then what we do will follow? Hopefully you get my question, right? You know, essentially, does God tell us what to do because we just choose to live in love, or do we actively choose what we do because we're good at it for whatever reason? That's a deeper question. And my friends, think about it. So let's hear from Sean and Rashida. Then I'd love to know your thoughts on that question. Stephen, I do see you. Welcome. So glad you're here. So Michael has Michael, join the studio. Michael says, a smile freely given, shared, lightens lows, heals wounds, bringing joy, a ray of hope, touching the heart, reaching out, showing love, is self-reflective to the giver. Reflection, a benediction, a moment, frozen in time, pleasure forever. I tell you, does someone really think that? You did, Michael, right? Michael's a fantastic person. So do connect with him. You know, also, he thinks very deeply. I don't. I'm quite shallow. You know, I mean, there is something that Cyrus said. I think, you know, business, when we lead with love. I'm a learner. If I say anything wrong, don't shoot me. Just correct me, right? I said I'm learning from the book that the whole point of being in business, as Cyrus said, is our love to provide a solution to people in the world. If that's not the reason, if that's not our reason, then don't be in business. It's pretty much what the book's saying. If that's what it's
humanity. You know, humanity. Contribute to humanity.
Yes, like well, and heal a wound in the world. That's what same thing, right? Now
Yeah.
we're not just doing business for business sake or to make money. We're doing
No,
business
never. That's a
now
symptom. That's a
to help
symptom.
humanity. I agree with you. Sean, please bless us with your insights. And clearly you know about this topic, right? This is one of yours, right? Okay.
A little.
Talk to us, my friend. Talk to us. What's your take?
Well, I wanted to start with rather like love is the foundation. You know, if we make love the foundation of our business instead of looking at it as fluff, because often we hear the word love and we think soft and all that, but love, in my opinion, it's fierce. It's what fuels resilience. It's the why behind the what. It's what makes business, what makes our work truly matter. Because true service only comes from love. A love for growth, a love for other people, a love for impact. So if we really want to build a sustainable business, we got to include love. And it's interesting that Cyrus talked about finding your purpose. I actually just did a podcast episode on this. You don't find purpose, you build purpose. Right? It's like finding your true love. You don't I think I love the way I said it. If you're out there looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right, start by becoming Mr. or Mrs. Right.
And that opens a whole lot of different way of thinking, right? Where we attract, you know, all of us talk about now. We want customers, and you know, I'm going to get customers. I say, you know, we have to learn to use that love to attract the people that we want, not just customers, you know, our friends, our partners, and even our employees, right? You know, if I learn to do that, I won't fire them so quickly. I'm just being me, but thanks, Sean. there's a lot there for sure.
And on that, Annie, you know, if we're being love, you guys, this was mentioned earlier, right? If we're being love, like truly love,
Yes.
loving our clients, we want to understand them deeper, serve them better. We love our mission. We're not chasing this, you know, that direction or that direction. You know, I always heard it said, we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. Right? So if we're serving from a place of love, like we actually care about the people we're serving, then we will attract. People will be like, hey, what's he talking about over there? I want to know more about this thing he's doing.
Yeah, no, it is that. It is who we are ultimately. This always comes down to show, you know, and who we are when we're our true selves. You know, it resonates with the right people, yeah, and they will come to us. Yeah, interesting one. I've got quite many questions for all of you, my friends. I can't wait to ask you the questions.
There's you know, any day is also. There's also a very good. I want to, you know, confirm what Sean just said. It's the we are in the same boat, and when you confront or engage with another human, and you look it through the filter of this guy is in the same boat with me, it totally changes your interaction. Versus, oh, he's a specialist in AI, and I don't know anything in that. No, it has nothing to do. This person that shows up in my life is a part of my boat. He's in my boat. Even if we don't like each other, you can go in the front of the boat, I can go in the back of the boat, but we're still in the same boat. And
Yes.
both are contributing to humanity.
Indeed.
And then the love that is that vibration. I don't even, you know, it can be emotion too, and you feel, of course, a vibration. is what interconnects us all to be in the same boat. And so what we said also here is the contribution. If you want to do a business, what is your contribution to this, not the system, but to the humanity? Yeah. That's why I always said my words, human-centric or system-relevant. In system-relevant, you can be a failure, you can be false. But in human centricity, there are no failures, because nature doesn't make a failure, universe doesn't make a failure, and God doesn't make a failure to make us all one of one. Because you have a different skin, because you are different gender, has nothing to do with anything, you know? That has absolutely, you have to prove to me that there is no other race, other gender, that is not mean or good, that you like or don't like, that is successful and not successful. It has nothing to do. We're all in the same boat, creating a clarity of meaning, learning, expanding by interacting with each other in the same boat. We don't have to hug, we don't have to kiss, we don't have to sleep with each other, but we are in the same boat. And then and that takes all the stress away. That takes all the stress.
Exactly that. I think that you do. No, you do. It's when we try to be special, the best, especially
system relevant. When we want to be system
ruin our world, because suddenly we're trying to create divide rather than it joining together. This is what the book says. I'm just telling you. God, no.
System relevance always segregates us. Every system relevance segregates us ultimately. It has a noble intent. Oh, I'm good with kids, I will take care of kids. But then all of a sudden I have not enough money, so I have less people watching the kids, less people helping the kids. All of a sudden the noble intent is to take care of kids is exchanged to how much money, because it's never enough. You know, it's I make 100 grand with you, Annie, tomorrow we have to make 120. And if we can't make 120, we have to cut costs. And when you cut costs, you take the noble intent to support the humanity, you take that away.
I'm laughing at Michael's comments. Michael, stop it. Michael, where you are funny. Michael says, and I'm mean to my vendors, Ellie. As he told me this today. I was saying to him, don't be so mean to vendors, because what goes around comes around, Michael. You know, but he's just, who doesn't want to be cost effective? Who doesn't want to choose the best solution rather than just buying what's out there, right? Now, this figures into our question today. As a business, and who leads where you lead with love, what does that really look like? I think that's a question for everyone. I want to come back to that after Rashida speaks, right? But what does it really look like? How do we engender that love in people so that way they become love, or a person of love, rather than, I don't know, this. How do we make what does it look like? I know what it looks like for me. Like with me, I say, look, it looks like a child that's a year old. No bad bone in the body, and then that's what I pass my answer. I'll come back to that in a second, right? I really want to hear what you have to say, Rashida. So Stanley, I'm doing what I love. It's not. If it was all about money, I'd have stayed at Verizon, where I was VP, reporting to an SVP, report to the SEO. Now, that was 31 years ago. I absolutely love helping people. That's why you're still in business, Stanley. That's why power thinking is so impactful. It really is. I think not everyone understands this logic. I'm going to do it in a talk in Ghana, I think in September. And I think I'm hoping to share this concept with them, and see what they think of it, because I think that many people in Africa, from my experience, my knowledge, they believe in religion, but living it the way I think we have to do to be at that vibration, to be at that end, to have that energy. There's a big gap between reality and their thinking. But that's me later on, right? So Sanders says, unfortunately, many businesses say they love their customers and employees, but that's not the behavior at the end of the day. That's the point, Sir Stanley. I agree with you entirely. Jay says, once you build your purpose, you get to do what I do, which is live in it. It's like, it's Rashida, I hope I'm giving you more ammunition to speak and share your thoughts, because see, we've made mention of money so far, right? And I think the whole point of business is to find inner peace. When we find that inner peace, the money comes, and then we do what we do with love. More money comes. It's a weird thing, right? That's my thought. Rashida, what say you? How are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I'm great. Thank you so much for bringing me in this event, my friend Annie. For me, love in general is not limited to a business, a workplace. Love is something you exude, at least for me anyway, exude in everything you say, think, do, feel, how you treat people. And if you really approach everything in life from that standpoint, a place of love, a place of peace, serving the higher good, bigger than yourself, you never chase dollar signs. You chase happiness. You chase saving souls, saving lives. That's the really purpose, the way I see it, why I'm here. And I will never chase a dollar sign for that. The dollar signs, by the good Lord's will come later and just fall into place naturally, just as a result or a reward of doing his work on earth.
You must have read the book, Rashida, right? I know you haven't read the book.
I haven't read it yet. I'll admit, I haven't read it yet, but I want to. I have a reading list a mile long. But this is just from my heart, from my soul. That's what I speak from.
You speak the way the book writes. That's why I say that. You get it.
I do.
It's the only book I've bought where my coach said, buy this book. I'm like, okay. I literally 2 minutes later, I had the book in my library. And luckily, I guess I tend to read books. Like I said, I read them with a mission or with a goal in mind. I want to learn something. That's why I'm reading the book, right? It's never a coincidence. But exactly, you're saying exactly what we know. It's whether more people understand and are aware, of the importance of just leading with love and letting everything play out. I think you mentioned the higher power. I think that there is a divine aspect to this. Yeah, like I said, I struggle with it, but that's me, right? But I get it. I can see where it's coming from, and I can accept that I may have something to learn. I'm just being resistant. So, before I let you go, I suppose, my friends, how do we get people to understand what we're talking about? How do we get people to truly be that person? So the only way I can explain it is to say, how do we get people to feel like the 1-year-old kid who has truly no bad bone in the body, doesn't compare themselves to anyone. They just are, right? They wake up and they love life. Until someone said in the comments, until we destroy their happiness by showing them what they should be afraid of, right? So how do we get ourselves back in that situation, in that state of being? Do you have any idea? Or should I go
human
to you?
becomes you got to be aware. Aware is not knowledge. Knowledge is not the intelligence. The intelligence is the awareness. And when you were education, and I work a lot of education, if you were changed and conditioned, we do the same education since 1845 into generalizing humans, making them a race, a gender, good, bad, right, wrong. You literally take everybody's one of oneness that nature, God made us away, and nobody can express themselves in balance. I'm not saying everybody's right or wrong. It's just you got to be aware about what it is to be a human being first, and then everybody will jump on our bandwagon. But if you don't,
I'm not sure it's that easy. Otherwise, the world will be a better place. This is why I'm asking the questions. I think we there must be a way to impart this knowledge that a few have, a few, maybe many of a few, if you get me right.
You
Not
said
everyone understands it though.
you
Not everyone.
said a kid knows. A kid knows. So
Well,
it's the a reconditioning of a being into a group. The black people, the white people, the
how
mean
do,
people, the good people.
how do we do it?
To be aware of it, that we are one of 8 billion people that are one of one, and we can't be generalized.
Well,
That,
no,
that's very simple. It is very simple, but it is it.
yeah. I think the alternative is what's coming to us. When I said the world is spiraling downwards, now, that's what people believe because we choose not to live in love, right? And that's the problem. I say we need to change people's awareness. I agree with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not a coach. I'm just I'm a learner. So I'd love to know what my coach friends think. Dr. Yvonne, what's your take? How must become the counterforce?
Well, I just saw a huge pivot from, and this is my observation, uh, and hello to everyone who is not familiar with me, but I just saw a huge pivot in the conversation. I saw a huge pivot in the meaning of the topic of the conversation. And what was interesting is that there was a price tag placed in the conversation where here we are foregoing that, even though this is a business conversation, we're talking about our individual take
Mm.
on the subject matter. And it has, yes, it has a lot to do and everything to do with our environment, but that's not the balance within. So, based on the subject matter, any, my take is always going to be the same in that love is something, that starts within, but it's something that we have to learn. And it is a backwards journey. And sometimes we have to reconcile that with different types of traumas or expectations placed by other people in order to find ourselves, which might or might not include one's North Node. But however you look at it, however you slice it up, the subject matter is love. And how does that coexist with your business as well as yourself? And for me, it starts from within on any subject matter, any level, any dimension, any time, just different types. That's my take.
I agree with you. Certainly, it starts within for sure. I'm not sure how. Look, we talk mindset every day. There's mindset coaches everywhere, and I'm saying the good ones. There's good ones, and there's not so good ones, right? But they don't listen. They don't. Many people don't hear. They might hear, but they're not doing. And that's it. Doesn't bug me. It's the reality of life that we live, right? And I say, and I would say I'd love to know if there's a simple way. Now, look, start work on our inner beings, our inner selves. I agree. I'm not sure how, Dr. I'm not sure how. Because I think I guess maybe I believe we need a fundamental change in
Yeah, but
how we approach the world. So,
the greatest thing about life is the journey.
mm,
So I think once you understand, and not everybody understands that, people get it at different times.
mm,
I have a 26-year-old daughter, and the things that she knows at 26 literally kills me because I'm learning that as her mother. Like my true journey for myself began in 2017. And that is after harrowing things. But the reality is, everybody has their own cross to bear. Everybody has a story. Else,
mm,
you wouldn't be existing or coexisting or living. Um, but it starts with recognizing that you are on a journey, and with faith you take this journey and you understand that everything that comes out of it is a lesson. You either choose to repeat it or you choose to learn from it and move on. And as long as you're evolving and learning and growing and elevating, this is part of your journey. I mean, you have to seek it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You know that when the time is right, and we give ourselves, to the greater power, then we become more aware and we grow as we get to the next stage in our growth. I think that's what you're saying to Yvonne, right? I'll take it. I say no. Okay. No, I'm not going to get the perfect word today. Apparently, I'll take it. It's all right. That's not going to. I'm not going to do myself in over that. But I think there's a fair point there for sure. Mrs. Cyrus, what say you, my friend? What say you? How do we? I think maybe should we? Is the question, and maybe that's a better question. Should we try to hasten people's awareness and speed up people's awareness of reality and the importance of love and the importance of believing?
Yeah, sure. So can I add one word to it though, to the question?
Please.
What I'm going to say is, because I could consider myself a pragmatic person. Like whatever's practical, I'm there, right? I'm a fan of that. So how should we? Because that hastens the whole process immensely. So because when you're saying should we, we're going to be all sat around the table thinking if we should do it. But once you change the question, because the questions you're asking yourself changes the quality of your life for better or worse, right? So the quality of the questions that you're asking, just to give you an example, I think it was during a little bit before Renaissance started in Europe, there would be long lines of people. Like imagine a couple of miles, people queuing up, people lining up to, like, through villages and everything, all the way to a church. They had questions. And where would they ask their questions? The most knowledgeable person they could find around them, a clergy. So they would go to the priest and say, I have a question. So one of those questions was, now you can imagine this person's been waiting for ages, right? So the question was, how many angels could you fit on the tip of a needle? Now, it is mind-boggling, okay, on many levels. That question is wrong on many levels, like farting in an elevator, right? So the person is trying to find out how many angels you can fit on the tip of a needle. So now, let's say you found the answer to that question. How are you going to apply it to your life, to your own life or other people's lives, or make their lives better? So certainly, the quality of our questions improved, and in the post-Renaissance world, we ask ourselves more fundamental questions. We ask ourselves, how can we escape the gravity? And then we created shuttles. How can we cure illnesses? And then we started laboratories, right? We started working on formulas for chemistry. We started exploring the rules of physics, and then our lives became better. And then a couple of wars happened, and then we owned mobile phones, and then after that we all got stuck in this level we call the age of technology. We're kind of stuck in it right now. So hopefully we will improve our questions that we are asking ourselves in this age, and we will make better progress. We get past this page, right? This stage. So now back to the question. The question this is the point I was trying to convey. This is the point I was trying to prove. The better the question, the better the answer, the better the quality of our lives. So should we apply love to the business? Yeah, of course, because there are difficult days ahead. There are days you don't even want to get out of bed, but you know you have to provide for your child. So you're going to kick yourself up the backside and go to work and provide for your child, for your husband, for your wife, for your friend, for your grandparents, right? There are people in this day and age, there are people who provide for two generations, for their children and for their grandparents. Japan is one of those examples, right? So if you look well enough, you find them everywhere, not just in Japan. Anyway, the point is, should we apply love? Yes, we should. But love is a feeling, okay? I'd rather apply consistency, because when I'm consistent, when I'm angry, I do it. When I'm in love, I do it. When I hate it, I do it. Regardless of the feeling, I do it. Okay, so I need to galvanize my business. What's the best way of galvanizing my business? I'm being consistent. But can I apply love to my customers? Yes, of course you can do. If there's something wrong in the customer-facing part of the business, yes, of course, apply sympathy. One of my teachers always told me, where can you find the idiots in the room? The unsympathetic ones. That's the idiot, right? So where can you find the most intelligent, emotionally intelligent? The sympathetic ones. Thank you.
You know, I will say people who are more successful in business, they lead with love and they truly embody love. Like Michael, I take your point. Michael says they don't teach people, you model love to them and you act in love daily. That's like consistency, right? Yeah, look, I guess there's a reality, which the reality is this. Humanity has to learn to live in love. Either way, whether we're going to learn, before we doom ourselves, or whether we're going to learn, after the doom happens. Either way, we're going to have to learn, right? It's a case of when. When do we choose to learn? I think for me, that's my personal perspective. And the sooner we do it, the sooner we start learning, the better life will be for everyone. And the less painful the lesson will be, right? That's my personal take. Sean, talk to me. You can say you're a coach, so hopefully you've got an answer, if there is an answer.
Well, I put something in the comments.
Okay.
About learning, unlearning. It's not about that. It's about letting go of all the fear and everything that we've learned, we've been conditioned, and returning to our original state. Right? The way I've heard it said is, when a baby is born, does the baby have to do anything to be loved? No, it exists.
It just is.
Right? So what's changed? You exist, therefore you deserve love. But I love this old saying, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Right? I can't make anybody do anything. All I can do is, as we talked about, embody the love. And if it influences others, which it will, if it's from a place of true embodiment, the love will exude, and people will be like, wow, what's going on with that person? Like, maybe he's on to something. Maybe she's on to something. But, I have a little story to share, if that's all right, Annie. So a long time ago in a little coastal village, it was known for two things. One was a powerful lighthouse that kept the ships from crashing on the shore. 2 centuries this lighthouse had been there protecting the coastline. And there was a quiet old shipbuilder named Eli. His boats were known to sail through any storm. He didn't speak much. He was a craftsman, but he was of few words. He had a deep soul. He believed every boat he built carried a part of him, his care, his time, his love. Somebody asked him one time, "Why do you put so much into each one?" And he simply said, "Because someone's future depends on it floating." But then one year, something changed. A merchant from a bigger city came, promising contracts and scale and success if Eli would just speed up. Trim the care, skip the hand sanding, use some cheaper wood. Don't worry, they'll float long enough. Eli listened, and the money was good. The praise came fast. He became known further and further. But something in him began to crack, quieter than even wood under pressure. And then a storm came, a violent one, the worst that had been seen in decades. As the dawn broke, the wreckage of boats washed ashore, boats that Eli had built so quickly, boats without his love. He stood in silence, staring at what he once called his craft, now in splinters. But the lighthouse still stood, the light unwavering. And then it hit him. The lighthouse was never in the business of chasing ships. It just stood, rooted in love and clarity, guiding others home. He had just become a ship, rushing through the waves, chasing the speed, but he was always meant to be the lighthouse.
One is always mesmerizing. I take it, my friend. There's a lesson there for all of us, right? So I think that's what love in your business looks like.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We can only be the one of 8 billion. Tell me what else we can do if we are nothing. And the one of oneness brings us to love.
Michael, we chase money. We chase the big contracts. We try and find shortcuts. We forget ourselves. As Sean just reminded us, right?
The system relevance, exactly. The system relevance versus the human centricity. You got to segregate the two to do the right thing. And to feel the love is when you say, okay, I'm going to be human centric. I'm not going to be system relevant, or I'm human centric to be human centrically system relevant. And then it all leads you to love. Human centricity leads you automatically to love. If you're one of one and you look at your one of oneness and you are the lighthouse, that brings you to love, because people will see that light in you. But if you look, I have always different opinion, different observation and perceptions like everyone else here. But I'm very clear about mine. And I'm always consistent of what I say. And I'm never saying, oh, this is the greatest. No, that is the greatest. No, I will say, this is what my experience expresses. And then when I share the experiences with you guys, it clarifies my experience. That's why creativity is our first superpower. Dialogue, what we do here, is the second superpower. And adaptation to what is the third one, to make money, to make a business, whatever. We have to adapt. That we can actually collaborate, because we are collaborative creator species of nature. There's no better description of human than a collaborative creative species of nature. And when we follow this, you have all the love. I get so much love all over. I don't have to look for it. I'm just me.
I hear you. I say thank you, and thank you, Henry, for joining us. If you've never met Henry, I've had the pleasure of meeting him. Connect with him and have a conversation with him. I'm fascinated by the work he does, and I will come back to that in good time. Look, I didn't know what the response I was going to get today, right? I'm always learning, and I try and be a better person tomorrow than I am today. A more aware person. That's what I mean by better, really. I guess I could give you many conclusions to today's conversation, right? I guess I'll say this. I accept from the book's preaching, and I'll give you all a minute to have your last input for today's conversation, if you don't mind. So I think I guess we think we do things by ourselves, by our genius. But I think the book says changing our minds is the ultimate personal empowerment. Although it's a human decision to choose love instead of fear, this big shift produces a dimension of our lives that's a gift from God. The miracles don't happen because we make them happen. They occur because, as Sean was saying, the involuntary effects of a loving personality and an invisible force that emanates from someone whose conscious intentions to give and receive love. I've actually got to do anything to make to be successful and to make our business work if we just lead with love, right? And that's where actually we relinquish the fears that block the love within us. We become God's instruments. We become His miracle workers. I like that. Deep conversation, right? That's what I promised you. Rashida, I wonder, what's your last take today, my friend? What do you want to leave us with?
We all came from the same place, whether you call him God, Allah, whatever. Clearly, it's something higher than any human being in the world. And that commonality is what binds us as humans. And that alone is reason enough to love and be loved. That's the simplicity of life, my friends.
Superb. That is as easy as it is, right? Rashida, you're a genius. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. Mike, I know you just joined us. I wonder what your take on
Yeah. Okay, my take is like this, I just heard Rashid, and I'm gonna counter. Rashid, I'm an alien. I came from the planet Birth, and yeah, I do love you and all that. I don't know about the gods and everything, but I'll tell you what. If I were to call the planet home, this planet home, yeah, then I'll probably be in tune with what you're saying. So I'm good. Thank you very much.
And look, if that's what you want to share with us, I'll take it.
Yeah, I missed most of it, so I'm sorry.
Team replay, Michael. Team replay, and then let's talk about it. I will share the book. So A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson in the comments.
For you. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you so much.
Marianne, okay.
No, so let me do what I normally do, which is give everyone the screen, right? Please, so let's wrap up. I don't want to keep you too long. So we're 6 minutes over already. So what's your final message for us today on this conversation, my friends?
That when we are 101 and when any wants to be the best any and is interested to become the best any, then he is the best lighthouse, and he's the best conductor of God's presence or nature's presence, which it needs 8 billion to figure that out, and 8 billion to talk to each other, to get closer to God. And that is also the result of experience love and feeling love, which is our connection. It's the vibration of connection. I think this was a beautiful thing, Annie. You're most powerful that I attended.
Yeah,
thank you.
I hear you now. Thank you so much for joining us as well, Michael. I don't normally talk spirituality. That's the thing with me, right? Normally I talk action, what we know, behavior and doing. So I'm surprised by myself. I'm surprised about myself. And part of me feels like I've learned something in the last few months, in the last few years maybe, to get this far. But that book has opened my eyes to another level of being. Maybe a lot of it, and I resonate with. So I do live. I find peace by living in that world of It's better. It's easier to love the world than to be anything else. And I think the whole living in fear thing doesn't work for me. I don't entertain fear, and I do have that childish way of looking at every day is a joy, and I expect every day to be a joy. And so it is. I guess it's good to find a resource that sort of speaks my language. Now all of you here on stage, you speak my language as well. I said Michael in the comments, and everyone to stand is saying the same thing. I said, no, there is a burst of a further effect, I think, for these LinkedIn events. Anyway, let me stop talking. Let me hear from a few more. Dr. Yvonne, what do you want to leave us with today?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Annie, for inviting me to participate. It was a high honor. I love your rooms. I love what you do. And I appreciate you thinking of me. And to everyone else, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. And yeah, I look forward to hopefully more and making some great connections and seeing where things go. Thank you all very much for listening to me. I appreciate it. And one of my new favorite people came on a little bit late, but that's okay. I'll talk to him.
Connect
Thank you.
conversation, I say, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike is always fun, right? Mike is always fun.
Yeah.
Nothing for being himself. And, it's a great, it's a great guy. So, Lachelle, welcome. I can't not welcome America's Supermom. And she's one that definitely leads with love, and I learned a lot from her. Her kindness. I think that's the word I probably use. She is that person who is always lovely, truly. I guess I love when people like you, like Michelle. Noni Pepperoni, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully, Noni shows Friday. If you haven't joined her sing your heart out events, do join her for sure. She's a lovely person, and she always aims to create the spaces where we can relax and be ourselves. I would never sing that Noni, but she knows that already, so she doesn't hate me for it. Sean, please talk to us. What's your last message today?
So, what I would say is to audit ourselves, audit our business. Ask, where in my business do I feel the most alive? Because that's where the love is. That's where love lives. Where are you feeling alive? On the other side, ask yourself, where am I feeling numb or bitter or resentful? That's where love needs to go. That's where it's already missing. And then 3 R's: recommit, realign, rebuild from love. And thank you, Annie, for this space. Thank you for inviting me and bringing such a great cast of characters to share their wisdom.
Yeah, so my friends are lovely. I'm blessed to have friends like I have. I mean that sincerely. Thank you, Sean, as well. You are part of our superstars in our community. So I thank you. Does anyone else want to say anything? I'm not sure. Rashida, I don't know. I'm not sure if
I can.
Go for it,
I have
Mike.
one thing to say. In the totality of things, there is only, I can share the world with one person, but I cannot share the world with nobody. It will be a plus if I share the world with everybody. But I just only need one. And I'm complete with just one more person. Thank you.
So you're having your complete with yourself, my friend. I think we all are. We have to be that way. And saying I think the other person is not a person per se. I think the other person is your God. That's what the book tells me, right? I'm trying to learn. I'm trying. Look, I'll leave with this, my friends. The show, no need. You might want to watch the replay. Different sort of conversation, but I've learned a lot from my friends in the studio and in comments. So here's what my takeaway, because obviously to do these rooms, I've had to read the book again, and try and pick up key points that I want to talk about tonight, that we'll talk about today from my perspective anyway. And I guess one thing I take away is that the key to a successful business is realizing that love is not separate from the rest. Now, the business and love is not separate from the rest of our lives, right? Our business and the love that we are is an extension of our most basic self. Our most basic self is love. See, what you want to do is not the important question. The question is, when I do anything, how should I do it? And the answer is, do it with kindness. People don't normally link business with kindness, but I think, and I know, I'm sure many of us here know, the most successful people, the people who resonate with us, people who stick in our minds, are those who, they became a tool, for doing miracles, and that's not a human thing. That's a godly thing, right? And we're in business for one thing. That's to inject love into the world. I'll leave that. Thank you, my friends. I'm going to go back to reading my book again tonight. See, I tend to read books several times over. I can't just read a book once because I'm reading on screen. I have to read it over and over. Do it from love, says Sean. I agree with you. Look, my friends, thank you so much for spending your time with us. Do enjoy your evenings. I'm back again in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully by then I'll have rooms organized with Dr. Yvonne, amongst other people. I got those shows coming up.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Enjoy your night, my friends. Take care. Take care. Thank you, everyone. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time with us. Take care. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Every step forward is a new leap to your farmer. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrating with the without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com.